say?
I could bathe in this. So good.
You could bathe in it, babe?
Yeah, so I could wash myself and just...
Ooh.
Get your crust out of here.
What did you say?
I can bathe in this.
What are you having with it on the side here?
Crackers that you made from scratch. You milled the flour and made the... man, I'm living the life.
I can't believe you said you would bathe in this soup.
Oh, good.
Second day, it's like fire. Too bad we can't know what it's like third day since someone was having a midnight snack last night.
I did not.
You were up in the middle of the night eating soup, D?
It was in the morning.
What time in the morning? 2 a.m.?
Yeah.
This rustic mushroom and beef potato soup is everything that you want this holiday season. I mean, it even goes beyond the holiday season, but listen, when I came up with this, it was an instant hit in my house. Now, before I get into all the details of how I came up with this recipe, I want to tell you that you gotta cook the mushrooms for 3 hours. Now, I know that sounds like such a hassle. You have a super busy day and you may not have time for that, but that's where a really good Instant Pot comes into play. Now, if you've been hanging around with me for a little bit of time, you know I love to use the Instant Pot. I use it almost every day. I use it for rice. I use it to steam beets. I use it to steam vegetables. I make eggs in it. I mean, there's nothing that the Instant Pot can't do. Not sponsored, but would hope to be one day. But anyway, here's the deal. Many people in my family have told me I cannot digest mushrooms. Whenever I eat them, my stomach hurts or I'm having diarrhea. So here's the deal. Undercooked mushrooms can for sure cause digestive discomfort. But when you slow cook them or pressure cook them for an extended period of time, they become way more digestible. And they also become more bioavailable, making those minerals like potassium more accessible for your body. Not only that, they develop a deeper, more rich umami type flavor. And you get rid of a lot of those anti-nutrients when you cook them for the 3 hours. So throw them in the Instant Pot and then keep it moving. All right, now on to this recipe and how I came up with it. So if you guys don't know, I am a traditional housewife. I stay home and I have the privilege to get to just do all the cool homemaker things. I'm really privileged and I feel so blessed. This is the life I always dreamed of. I mean, I come from LA and doing some entertainment things, but I really do love getting to be a homemaker. And so my husband gets to come home every day for lunch from work. His office is pretty close by, so we have lunch together every day. So one day I was actually really busy doing some entertainment type things, and he was like, "Hey babe, what time do you want me to come?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I don't have anything." And I looked in the fridge, and at the time we were doing carnivore, and I could not eat ground beef another day plain. So I was like, what do we have? We have russet potatoes, we have garlic, jalapeno, ground beef, an onion. I'm like, what can I make quickly that is going to be delicious? Now, if you have potatoes, you always have a meal. I mean, you can make French fries, you can make au gratin potatoes, you can put, if you have eggs, you can make a frittata with potato. I mean, potatoes are the best thing to have. So I decided to just chop up these russet potatoes, which, by the way, if you're thinking of using Yukon Gold or red potatoes, those do not make a good potato soup because they don't really cream very well. So when you do any kind of potato soup, you want to always do like a russet potato. So what I'm doing is I'm just boiling the potatoes. I've got 2 bulbs of garlic because what's better than garlic? More garlic. So I didn't even chop up the garlic. I just left the garlic in whole pieces and I chopped up the jalapeno and I'm boiling that with the potatoes down. You're going to see the water go down. I know I say this in every video, but caramelized onions I'm in my caramelized onion phase, okay? It just is what it is. And I know my husband, I'm a soup person. I am a soup person through and through. And he is, oh, by the way, if you don't know, Sex and the City is my favorite show. I'm on the season now where Carrie's into Burger and it's her premiere party or whatever for her book. I hate this season. Burger is my least favorite guy she was ever with. Why? I don't understand. But anyway, okay, there are the mushrooms. The mushrooms are done. Now, here's the deal. I love the caramelized onions. My husband is like, I don't have to have soup again. But I love soup so much. So I wanted to make it a hearty soup. Like if you're going to make this for your man, he's going to like it because it's hearty, it's thick, there's bite, it's not too soupy. Okay, we're going out to the garden to get some herbs to put into our Vitamix. And then we're gonna also leave some of them just kind of chunky. My garden's looking a little rough out here, as you guys know. The squirrels have been digging in here, so looks good. And rosemary. Okay. Got some rosemary, some thyme. Okay, we're good. So once we get these herbs from the garden, you're gonna wash them. Mine are full of dirt, so got to get all that gunk off. Just get them a nice cold bath so they don't lose any of their flavor. But what I was saying is, this is a really hearty soup. So if your man or your kids or whatever, whoever you're making this soup for yourself, if you don't like a soupy, watery soup, you're gonna like this because I kept the garlic bulbs whole. We have the whole potato. We're blending up the mushrooms. If you wanted, you could chop up the mushrooms a little bit to have little bits of mushrooms, but I just blended all of mine. And then I'm blending the herbs in, and then I'm adding in a half a cup of our raw heavy cream. We get raw milk and raw cream and raw butter from our local farm. So I'm just blending together half of the herbs, the thyme and the rosemary, and I'm just making this sort of sauce, as you can see. It's really beautiful. So you can see that water came down and there are those whole chunks of garlic. And then we're going to go in with the immersion blender. Well, I guess we're not there yet, but you're just going to cook this water all the way down. Like not all the way down, you're going to leave like a little bit. And just then you're going to pour over that creamy sauce that we just made. That looks so good. Oh my gosh, I want some right now as we speak. This soup didn't even last a full 2 days. So we're going to mix that in, stir it up really well, and then add in those caramelized onions. And I liked to keep the caramelized onions chunky so that you have that bite when you eat the soup. So then I'm going ahead, I'm just putting that ground beef on there. Go ahead and put a little bit of Celtic salt in there to salt it well. You could put a little bit of pepper. And I'm making some sourdough bread while I was cooking this soup. So it's perfect. We had a little bit of bread with this delicious hearty soup. So when the ground beef is done, we're just going to add the ground beef into the soup. And then we're also going to, okay, what I also wanted to say is, only use the immersion blender like 4 times. You do not want this to be too creamy. You want those chunks. So just like 4 times with the immersion blender, and then you're good. Get in, get out, keep those chunks in there. So we've just barely used that immersion blender. You can still see the chunks are in there. And now I'm adding in those delicious caramelized onions so the soup has a really nice bite to it. A bite, not a burger. Does anybody else watch Sex and the City still? That's my favorite show. I watch it all the time. I really want to talk to you guys about it. I have so many things I feel like I still want to talk to you guys about the show as if it just came out. Maybe I'll do a series like that just for fun on here on the channel because I love Sex and the City. When it's over, I get so sad. I think my favorite line is, "You and I, nothing." Oh my gosh, I feel like I rewatched the season just to hear Carrie give me that line at the end. Okay. Back to the soup. I got distracted. But here's the deal. You saw it was really nice and chunky. Now I'm using those last few bits of herbs that I have, the rosemary and the thyme, as a garnish on top, which also it's nice to have a little bit of bite to your soup, right? And it's also really Christmassy. It's really pretty. So there you have it. That is the easiest one-pot soup you will ever make, ever. And it is so delicious. And even if you don't like the taste of mushrooms, the mushrooms are barely there. Like, they're barely there. My husband was like, "I don't want mushrooms." And he was like, "This is mushrooms." I'm like, "Yeah, it's mushrooms." So they're very bioavailable. It's delicious. It's gorgeous. Look how pretty that is. So pretty, so comforting, so warming, so hearty, not too soupy, very satiating. It's got protein from the potato, Did you know potatoes had protein? Protein from the ground beef. And then look, we have that beautiful sourdough loaf too. All right, well, that concludes this recipe. If you'd like the full written recipe, you can go to sisterfrennn.com. All of my recipes are there. You can find them, you can print them. And I'm also working on developing some new sourdough recipes using freshly milled grains. So head to sisterfrennn.com, put in your email, and become a part of the Sisterfrennn community and get access to the recipes. And one last pro tip that I forgot to remind you guys of is to save a little bit of your broth every time you make something. Whether you're baking a chicken or if you're cooking those mushrooms and you have a little bit of extra broth, if you have a soup or something like that and you need to reheat it, instead of adding water and watering it down, you can add a little bit of broth to maintain that delicious flavor. So if you're baking a chicken, pour a little bit of that chicken stock off, or if you're making oxtails plain with just salt, save some of the juices. Whatever you're making, save those juices so that you can add them in your recipes. So enjoy. This is way better and healthier than that store-bought stock and actually has some really good flavors.